Should we do Tarantino or should we do Fincher? What you guys want to do first?
Ooh. I kind of want to end on Hateful Eight because I'm just like the most curious about
I'm
your
cool with
guys'
that.
opinions this watch through. But
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, let's talk The
And we could
Killer then.
tie up Fincher. Yeah.
Yeah, this highly anticipated movie for me, I guess, in the last few years when I heard about it. New
Yep.
Fincher movie is going to be anticipated no matter what. But this
Yeah,
one,
I kind of same. Just after the, after the director's dive, I feel like I was really looking forward to it.
you got to see what he's got up his
Yeah.
sleeve now, still, right? I mean,
Yeah.
definitely in the vein of what type of movies he makes.
Yeah.
A little bit, I don't know. I guess it's a little bit like self-critical of him, of like his nature or his like style, but also kind of
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm getting into like weird dissection of this movie already, but I guess what were your first instincts or first thoughts on like The Killer?
I'm kind of down with any movie that's like isolated to one character, as long as that character is like compelling. And I mean, Michael Fassbender did it for me. His the whatever you call it, where he speaks over the voiceover
Voiceover.
kind of work. Yeah, I dug that. Like that was just like, it's perfect for what he was trying to get across. And
Well,
Yeah.
what made
Yeah.
this like single character, isolated character story more interesting, I thought, is
yeah,
we're always in his head, and it's always seen through his POV. So it's just more interesting that way. So
Yeah.
he's an unreliable narrator right off the bat. So like you're always seeing his perspective on things. So it's just a lot more interesting that way. Like the forbid empathy that he says, does he actually forbid empathy, or does he just
yeah,
want to be that way? Want to
Mhm.
strive for that perfection in his career?
It's like his
Yeah.
mental mantra
Hmm.
almost.
Right.
Of like,
yeah.
So,
Anticipate, don't improvise. And like half the
Right.
time, it does feel like he's improvising.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly. So
yeah.
yeah,
it's
I
just
guess that is
it's
true.
just an interesting
Yeah.
perspective to see the movie through
That like made me
his
think
eyes.
like
Yeah.
of Fincher's like other movies. And like it kind of makes you think like there is a decent amount of like self-character narration. I mean, like Fight
Yeah,
Club.
it's like a
Like
Fincher staple
I'm
almost.
pretty sure for some
Yeah.
reason the second one I thought of was like the girl with the dragon tattoo, but I know that there's like multiple others over this.
Gone Girl.
Gone Girl.
Yeah, Gone Girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to like run through it right now, but there's
Yeah.
Benjamin Button. I think
don't
has
know.
one. Yeah.
I think for me, it goes back to like what I said when we were talking about the last Mohicans. Like, I think my expectations for this movie were too high, and for me, it didn't like pay
live up.
off, or it didn't get to. Yeah, it didn't really like live up to what I thought it would be. Because I mean, like, I don't know, this like genre is like Fincher's shit, and like
Right.
I did think Michael Fassbender did a really good job, and I did like the character narration. But like, I feel like I kind of just ultimately settled that it was like a decent movie, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't just like anything extraordinary to me, though. You know,
I feel that.
I
I don't know. I feel like it. I don't know. It just didn't have like the Fincher secret sauce that the other like peak movies had of his.
Yeah.
Like for me, at least, I don't know.
I get you. I think this one is pretty divisive for a Fincher movie to me, because I did rewatch this movie a couple days ago because my first watch I had the similar reaction. Actually, I was just like, that's a middle Fincher movie. He's kind of doing his classic shit here and there, but it's kind of like not as like well thought out or as compelling as some of his other stuff. And I like listened to a couple other perspectives and then rewatched it again, and I enjoyed it a lot more the second time. I will say that. I think it's
Hell
a
yeah.
better movie
Hmm.
than I gave it a credit for originally. I don't think it's top tier Fincher still. I don't think it's like got the, like you said, the secret sauce or like the ultra power that some of his other ones have. But he has a quiet, calculated nature in this movie, which obviously reflects the main character. That, I don't know, it pays off in ways like his other movies do. Like, I wanted to rewatch this movie after like a week,
Yeah.
and that's a Fincher movie because it draws you back, and this one did draw me back. So it's like it's there, but it's
Definitely.
not up top 10 out of 10. It's like I'm gonna give it 4 stars now. I think is like it was 3.5. I think it's like upper echelon, but not fully there.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I had the same like instinct of like, damn, I know I'm gonna rewatch this again, just because of how engaging it was, and it's
And-
just
and
like
that's-
good commentary. Yeah.
And the thing about like the way I'm flopping when I did rate it. I had it at 4.5, and then I was like, okay, maybe it's 4 just because it's such a basic plot line. But then
Mhm.
I thought about the movie, and I have no complaints. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it besides it being just a basic plot line. But if he can make that basic plot line super interesting and like the sound design of it making it even more
Yeah,
interesting, I don't know.
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong with it that I could see. Um, but and it brings you back. I mean, what more could you ask for in a quick 2 hour movie, you know?
Yeah.
But
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The sound
so
design was something that really jumped out to me too in
Fantastic.
this one.
I,
Yeah,
I think
really
that's
good.
like a key feature of why Fincher's films are rewatchable. But I was also thinking why any film is like truly excellent is like based in its sound design, because it's like I think I said it a couple weeks ago or something. It's like you're in like a soundscape that a person is like tailoring for 2 hours, especially in Fincher's
yeah,
movie where like the score like
Yeah.
comes in and out of what just like sounds are and like tones are and shit. But it's like somebody is like locking you into that like long 2 hour song, it's like,
yeah,
and it's like
Yeah.
hypnotic almost, and with like the narration being locked into that perspective, like his movies and this movie, it's just like you're locked in a way that's like so engaging still. But
yeah.
Yeah, do that.
I mean, the
Yeah,
plot to me I
like this.
think was a main detractor of why I didn't like it originally, is it's so basic and so kind of,
Pretty
to me,
straightforward.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
but also like I think I was looking for more writing highs, I guess, because like the guy's giving you very like basic kind of like hammy lines and stuff. Like he's talking about Popeye, I am what I am, and it's supposed to be like it's supposed to be cool, but it's also supposed to be like dumb, And and
yeah,
like when on the first watch through, I didn't know if Fincher was being as smart as he thought he was. Like it doesn't feel like at all times in this movie that he's like on the joke. It's sometimes it thinks he feels like he's doing it straightforward. So I don't know if that's making sense at all, but I think overall he knows what he's doing. It's this tightrope act of is he skilled, is he a dumb as fuck, like, and just like building
Right.
himself up in these ways. But
yeah. I
Yeah.
got I got that because like it's a very secular view you're given to this guy, and I don't know. It's like drawing metaphors of like just like a lot of the stuff he's saying. Just you can sort of like draw parallels to just like in life about like success and like what your drive is basically. And it's like not till the end of this one that you kind of like find out that his drive is kind of just the same as everyone else's. Like, that feeling of
Yeah.
comfortability and like ending
mhm,
up okay, feeling secure or whatever. And it's
mhm.
like,
He's one of the many.
that's what drives you. Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, that's what really, because I was kind of in that same boat. I was like, is this as smart as it thinks it is? But yeah, by the end of it, I was like, you know what? Yeah, it kind of like, it just became more self aware by the end of it. I was like, okay, I
Definitely. I
got
mean,
this.
you start off with him saying, how precise he is about everything, and that he has to get his heart rate at a certain time, and then he fucks up the kill, and
Yeah.
he's just like, fuck. And
Yeah.
then he says, forbid empathy, and the whole rest of the movie is based off him caring for somebody in a revenge plot.
Right.
So
Yeah.
again, that turns up the, oh, this is a real unreliable narrator. And then, shit, there was one more part that really emphasized like, oh, him being kind of shoddy at his work. So it's like, is he actually as good as he says he is?
Mhm.
When he puts the nails in the guy's chest and he's like, he's got like seven, six,
And he just
oh
dies
fuck,
immediately. Yeah.
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 Yeah, he's a
So
fucking idiot. Like,
Yeah, I mean, even that fight scene in like Florida with that dude,
mhm.
dope ass fight scene. But it's like,
Fantastic.
hell
holy,
yeah,
this went to shit quick. Like,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, and he's like, it's like weird disconnect in this movie that you feel sometimes because he's like, he's thrusting meatballs over the fucking fence for the dog that the dog isn't even paying attention to, and then it
exactly.
like eats
yeah,
one. And he's like, I did it right, or whatever. It's like he's just like such an idiot. I felt on the second view, I was like, this guy's just not it. Like he thinks he's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I noted that the line he's like the feature line that I think landed wrong the first time, but actually opened up the second time was I don't give a fuck. I was just like,
Yeah.
cringe as fuck, dude. Like, I don't, like, and then
Yeah.
he's like, he's lining up the shot, and then and then the next, it's not the next line, but it's like close to it. He's like, fuck. Like, he fucks up the shot. He
Yeah.
goes, fuck. So it's like literally he's giving a fuck, like right after that. So it's just, I don't know, that it opened up the irony in the second watch a lot more. And I think you have to be tuned in for that, or else this movie will be just kind of one note, or else, and not even a good note either, I don't think. But
yeah, that makes sense.
Well, like, I feel like anytime he'd go anywhere and have to like show his passport or ID, like how many different names or aliases he went by,
Yeah,
it was all like kind of like goofy every time they would like come up with the next one, like have a good flight, like Mr. whatever the fuck, like
Archie Bunker.
Yeah.
It was like all like movie characters or TV characters or something like that. But yeah.
I mean, cool little things too to like kind of give you the idea that he is a professional is like when he goes in to get who the taxi driver is, he like makes it staged like a robbery. So like he throws the cash register out and stuff.
Mhm.
And then when he kills the guy, he steals his boombox because it makes it look like someone shot him for his boombox. Just things like that where it's like
Little touches.
he is like a professional, but since he is led by this emotional side, even though he wants you to think he's not, he makes mistakes. So
See, that's kind of what I go back on. I was like, I don't really know yet. Is like, to me, the more like unoriginal aspects of the movie come from like his girlfriend or whatever that character is. Like, I mean, he is doing this all for safety of them, but like, I don't know. I just felt like that character was barely fleshed out and didn't mean anything to him. So I don't even know if he was really doing it for her, or he just was like, I want to go do this in some name of something that doesn't, I'm justifying it this way, but don't care really.
That's a
right.
good point. Yeah.
Then you can think like, oh, is he actually doing it for her, or is he just worried for his own well-being? Because the character is not fleshed out, it gives you more time to think for yourself, I guess.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a little gray, and I kind of wish. I think this movie might have been more interesting if he didn't have a girlfriend or a wife. Just like he's just that dude, and like going out for his own reason would have been more impactful, I guess. But I don't know. And also, I guess like another negative I found was that it was really hard to shake just like the Dexter comparisons with the monologue in this movie. Just it naturally was like there. I don't know, just like the killer calculated planning, plotting,
when
watching.
He's talking about his McDonald's meal because Dexter's always eating and driving.
Right.
I mean,
like I'm getting the
always talking
protein.
about what he's eating. Right.
So it just feels like it's like 10 years past like peak time it could have been made maybe, but like still solid, in its execution. But I did actually listen to an interview with Fincher, and he said that there was no storyboarding on this movie, which just kind of blew my mind a little bit. That a man like Fincher would go into filming a movie with like no story. Like he's so calculated,
Maybe he's
but
just
then
trying some new shit.
He's not anticipating. He's improvising.
I feel like he's just like working on his anxiety. Like it was just so like a.
It's like he doesn't read any of the instructions and then just tries to build it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, and then he does, and he
look at what he came up
50
with
times though.
Yeah.
I guess
look
what I'm
he came
saying
up with without a storyboard.
I guess what I'm saying for this one is like are there any true visuals in this movie that pop in a way that's like I feel like I can kind of tell he didn't storyboard this one a little bit, where it's like, that's a good movie, shot well. Can you pick out one impactful shot of the movie?
I mean, the transition at the airport was kind of cool, where he looks up at the plane and it flies over and it cuts down and he drives in.
Mm-hmm.
Just thinking about that, there was like a couple cuts where he's like driving, and it's like just like on location. I think that would have been jarring otherwise, but I don't know. Maybe it's because he was like this character that it was like, oh yeah, okay, so it makes sense. He's like he's on the move. Like
I like the obvious one too is the fight sequence.
I mean, that one is
kind of mesmerizing.
A highlight, and it's one of the best fights in recent memory, I'd say. To me, that feels like it was a stunt team. Like Fincher came in and made some decisions, but the stunt team came up with that and then approached Fincher. So it's like
Yeah, I just loved like all the weapon. They were just constantly throwing shit at each other and like smashing shit. Like
Oh
using.
yeah, dude, it was so raw.
Yeah, it was
And
just.
When
Yeah,
he
cheese
falls down on
grater.
that fucking table, oh my
Yeah.
god! Every time I see
yeah.
that, I'm like,
When he
Pulls
like
that
kicks
thing
out his
out.
leg and then he like is that what you're talking about? And he falls into like the
yeah,
like
falls on the table,
yeah.
right up his ass.
Mm,
Yeah,
Yeah, fuck.
yeah, that's a great sequence. And the the sound design and like the visuals of that
oh my
sequence
god,
are
yeah,
on
Yeah.
point. It's like hidden in
crazy.
darkness, but enough like definition to give you it all too. But
Right. This is actually probably one of my favorite theater experiences this year. So
I can
I,
imagine it was pretty dope in the theater.
I think it
Yeah,
might have been
yeah,
better, yeah, in the theater, probably.
I could see that.
especially that fight sequence. I mean,
Mhm.
shit.
yeah,
Yeah. I did like I guess as far as shots goes, when he's driving away for the first kill and you see like the mask, it's not really like a well thought out shot. It's pretty quick, but that was a nice shot. And then the time jumps where it's like just his car chilling in like Florida, and then it becomes like sunset. Those shots are really well done. I like those ones a
Yeah.
lot. But yeah, I don't know, just like nothing like truly, I guess. But maybe that's just Fincher. You know, he's like every shot is so composed that it all kind of just flows as like this
Definitely.
orchestration or whatever, I guess you'd say. But
all right.
made a note that he has this little intro sequence here, and it's like the fastest intro sequence
Oh my
I've ever
god.
seen.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
so you like barely can latch onto the information before like the next thing's there, I feel like.
And it starts so quickly. Like when it started in the theater, I was like, "Whoa, okay, movie's on."
yeah, it's just like yeah, but it's like Fincher's got to have that sequence in there somewhere. But this one, he
yeah.
just like
Yeah.
cranked it as fast as he could. And I did note that I'm not a huge like chapter guy, but I think this movie actually did it added having chapters in this movie, I'd say. Like each city has like a chapter. That was nice.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Each chapter felt like its own distinct section of story, like a chapter should.
Yeah, I feel like it kept me focused on like what was going on.
Yeah.
Like his task at the moment, I guess. You know?
Yeah. I think it could have blended together in a way that's like more boring if they didn't have the chapters in this movie.
I agree. I don't know, because then I'd just be like thinking about what's going to be happening. I don't know.
Yeah, where am I?
I feel
why am I here?
it
When
like
am I gonna
added a
leave?
little
Like,
bit of like, yeah, you kind of like know what's coming almost.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So did it go above Benjamin Button for you in your ranking now after second watch through?
I think
Or-
so, but I also think
I-
that Benjamin Button might move up in the future. So, like, we'll see.
Oh my god.
We'll see. This one, it jumped into my top
Have
10.
you
of the year.
rewatched that yet too?
I've seen that
Yeah,
movie
you
like
turned
10
on-
times. So.
Benji Button, you've seen that many
Wow.
times?
Probably 10. I mean, that's a movie I'll put on and fall
That's
asleep to, but
crazy.
like, I've also put it on and
To
like
fall
enjoyed
asleep
it.
too?
What's that?
So you turn that on to fall asleep to, just like you turn on Last of the Mohicans to fall
No,
asleep
these
to?
are two
You kidding me?
distinctly separate fall asleep movies. No, Last of the Mohicans is one that you turn on and fall asleep 5 minutes in. Benjamin Button is like, maybe I'll stay awake and watch it. Maybe I'll fall asleep if I don't.
Halfway
Like,
through.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
Jesus.
That's the
it
REM
is-
cycle.
It did make the top 10 of my year right now, though. And not, I guess I'm just a downer this year on like big Hollywood directors, but out of the people who have made films this year, I think this is the best one. Out of like Christopher Nolan, Greta Gerwig, Martin Scorsese. I think Fincher still got it more than some of those other guys. So Greta Gerwig, I think she's still very on it, but I just didn't enjoy Barbie as much as I wanted to. But
It was great.
this one's good.
Yeah,
I like
that
that.
movie.
Damn you.
Hmm.
Damn you guys.
Interesting.
I
I
did
just
know.
realized the
so
other day,
fun, man.
actually, that it's almost time for our end of the year rankings. So
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
It's just
Damn.
like disappointing
I'm gonna
year.
have to think real hard about that.
Right?
I don't have any 5-star movies.
I'm
this
definitely
year.
gonna need to do some research.
none
Yeah.
at all.
I have one 4.5-star movie, and that's it. Everything else is below.
Really?
Yeah.
I think Spider-Verse either have a 5 or 4.5. But that's
Oh,
probably
that
higher.
movie. Oh, that
Four.
fucking movie.
Damn.
It's on Netflix now, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Think about rewatching it.
I did find it, I guess, like one last discussion about the killer before we move on. I think another gripe that most people have, and I can kind of understand, is like it's pretty anticlimactic at the end.
I can see that.
It's building up
Yeah.
all these kills, and then like the one dude he leaves is the dude he probably should have killed. You know, like,
But
which
it's
is part of the irony.
It's so
but-
good why he leaves him too, you know?
Yeah, that's what I
He
was
doesn't
thinking.
even give a fuck. So he's like, I have no concern here.
Yeah,
Like,
but
this guy's going to forget me as soon as I leave the door.
yeah, but like honestly, like he didn't have to kill basically everyone he talked to. Like he didn't have to do anything. Like he didn't have to, like especially the taxi driver. Like all the people are saying like they don't give a
Yeah.
fuck. They don't want they don't want to say anything. And immediately once they plead, he kills them every time. He like immediately once they
And,
start
like,
saying like
That's
but
the guy
he
who
doesn't
enacted the
believe them.
plans,
Right.
basically, too.
it's
Like,
like,
right.
why'd
like
you
I mean,
leave
like,
him.
regardless of whether he killed the other hitmen or not, like he could just hire more hitmen and he'd kill them too. But like they didn't really have anything to do with. They were just hired for the job.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's just like I don't know. I was rewatching it, and he literally gains like no information from the taxi driver. He basically knew that two people left in a green taxi, and where did they go? Probably the airport. Like he
Yeah.
literally gains nothing. He just
he got like the
knows that
leg thing.
What's
Because
what's
like,
that?
I mean, he got like the leg thing for the bigger dude.
Yeah, he was
'Cause
bleeding.
he
There was
had
blood
like a
all
limp.
over his fucking apartment.
Well, he could
or his
like
fucking
tell
mansion.
that he was like, because like when he was scoping him out, you could tell he had like a limp.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
so he
know,
knew
'cause,
which
I mean,
guy was
maybe-
the guy
yeah.
to kill.
Basically,
Maybe he didn't
okay.
know the
next
actual
step
guy.
after the taxi driver was like going to his dude, who he gets all his jobs from, and then he through that link he gets literally the cards with the people's information. So the taxi driver serves no purpose in his journey because he was just going to go to his boss anyway and be like, "Hey, what happened?" You know, like.
Yeah, so
So-
taxi
Well,
driver guy definitely didn't need to die.
Collateral
And
damage.
also, though, like he killed the like taxi driver guy who drove the assassins, but he didn't kill the other taxi driver guy at the shop. He
Right.
made that one look like a robbery
Right,
instead of
because he
killing
had a
that
mask
guy.
on. Not
I
at the start
mean,
though.
sure.
So did he see his face? Right. So he's just like wandering around with this like code that doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like
He's an
I mean,
unreliable narrator.
I don't know.
though.
Also,
I'm-
yeah,
it's
so
smart.
maybe he
It's
was just,
there.
like, pissed
It's
off.
good.
Like maybe
Yeah.
maybe he was just like pissed off at the world, so he
taxi.
took it out of the taxi guy.
yeah.
You know,
I
he was like
guess.
pissed at the people. I don't know.
And then
I
he
mean,
gets it all out of
it
his
didn't
system
seem
by the
like
time
that,
he gets
though.
to
I
the
didn't-
top, and he's just
I
like,
didn't pick that up. I just like pulled that out of me right now.
Yeah.
You know, like,
no, I mean, there's a message that it's getting at there where it's like he's killing all the wrong people, I think, and then he gets to the
Yeah.
top and lets the dude go that he should have killed. You know, like honestly, like, and it just adds to how dumb he is. Like straight up, I don't know. He thinks he's such a smart guy and he's such a fucking idiot. Like that's just kind of what I gained watching it again, but. But he's calculated,
All right.
you know. He's good.
maybe
at
I'll
his job.
watch it again. Fuck it.
Yeah, right.
It's a brisk 2 hours, I'd say. You know, it moves as much as a movie can.
It
Yeah,
did.
it
It did actually move
does.
pretty quick.